right, all right. Looks like we got some people joining. If you guys could just pop into the chat and let me know if you can hear me good. Awesome. Cheryl Dean can hear me. I want to post some rules in here for everybody. Do not unmute unless called on. Guys, I normally do these coaching calls with usually one-on-one. Hello, Kim. Usually one-on-one. I do not like to just listen to myself ramble. So I'm gonna be asking for volunteers to kind of go through each section. Who wants to start out with the intro? Pop them. First one who pops into the chat that they wanna talk with me. You'll go live. All right, it is 5:30. I'm going to we'll hang out for another couple minutes just to let everyone come in. I need a volunteer. Who wants to chat with me? All right, Cheryl Dean. Let me find you on here. Cheryl Dean, I asked you to unmute if there's a way for you to figure that out. Should be like a little microphone button. Just click on that and you should pop in.
Hey, what's going on, Brandon? Can you hear me?
Yes, is this Anthony?
That's correct.
All right, cool. Anthony will I'll do the intro with you, and then Cheryl Dean, if you want to pop into the next section, I'll call on you and just ask you to unmute again. I'm gonna hang out for a few minutes. We're still getting a lot of people popping in here. About 5:32.
Okay, should I mute back?
Is this Cheryl Dean?
Yes.
Yes. Mute back, and I'll get you on the next section.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, though. So, Anthony.
Yep.
You probably have similar background, similar questions to everybody else. Why don't you just let me know a little bit about yourself and kind of what brought you to us in the first place, where you're at in the process, and what are some of the topics that you're kind of fuzzy on as far as the group home business?
Gotcha. Okay. Well, my name is Anthony. I am located in New Jersey. I've been an investor for about 4 years. Still wholesale, so wholesale has been active income to provide me to purchase properties. I actually own a few in New Jersey.
Okay.
So I was somewhat familiar with the group home experience already before I actually even known I was doing a group home. So I have a property that I have all parolees in already. And I'm sort of branching out to Cleveland market to purchase properties to do the same concept. It's just I love what you guys are doing because I wasn't thinking about two-tour room and some of the legalities as far as paperwork was concerned. You guys really helped me out with that stuff. And then as far as contacting multiple organizations, because I am a veteran as well.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. I always wanted to do veteran housing, so I never knew how to really go about that or how to contact the organizations. So I plan to actually open up a veteran housing soon. I actually spoke to someone today in the Cleveland area that I just plan on buying a property now just so I can get it going. But as far as I'm concerned, I really don't have any questions. Everything is kind of straightforward. It's just about doing work now just to acquire more property.
Cool. Well, you kindred spirit here. I kind of got into real estate through wholesaling as well.
Yep.
One of the best skills you can learn, I think, is learning how to find a deal. And then
That's correct.
Yeah. So have you done rental properties and things like that before?
Yes. The properties that I did have was already I was calling it shared living space.
Uh-huh.
So I was doing the same thing, when I bought my first property. I actually took the basement and it was 6-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and then I put all SSI tenants in there. So I was already kind of doing it before I even knew what I was doing. And
Okay. So you kind of
yeah,
fell into it.
I just fell into it while everybody was doing multifamily. I just stuck to single family. It was priced very cheap at the time. This is a few years ago. Right now in New Jersey, prices is ridiculous. But
Yeah.
so yeah, I just kind of fell into it, and I just kept going, and it's sort of been my niche. But my true heart is to help the veterans, because I am a veteran, and man, when I was at a light, it all started from when I was at a traffic light, and I was talking to a guy that actually was asking for change, and he was a veteran, so that kind of just really caught me to do what I'm doing now.
Yeah. It's like almost half the lights that you're at least where I'm at, every stoplight has homeless people or tent cities, but half of
Yep,
them are vets.
that's
And
true. That
as
is
you
true.
may know, not everybody qualifies for their VA benefits or even knows how to go through like the bureaucracy to get them.
That is
So
true.
many of them do end up there. And that's kind of what I'll get into on my intro. I usually like to just kind of I'm going to break down just where the needs at, which you've already realized that, but some people wonder who would even want to live in these things. Why
Yep.
does it make sense? What's in it for them, and what's in it for you for providing that type of housing? I'm also going to touch on like the legal aspects. You mentioned it. Sounds like you figured it out. It's pretty
Yep.
simple once you realize it,
Yep.
and that's kind of part of our struggle, is just getting people to realize how simple the legality behind it is. We are also I'm just going to cover like the main points of the gold course and the key takeaways that people need to understand about the overall system. The first thing we recommend people doing once they kind of gather and know what they're going to do, um, is to start marketing.
Yep.
And many people worry about, what paperwork do I have them sign? What happens if they break the rules? How do I get paid? They're still kind of iffy if it's legal or not. And
Mhm.
that, even if it's not conscious, subconsciously, it's going to hold them back, right?
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I always tell people just to get started. I didn't know what I was doing in the begin
Well,
with.
you're
I
a
just was.
wholesaler, man. You've, we'll get out there. We'll go knock on doors. We'll call people and ask them to sell us a house for pennies on the dollar.
Yep.
Um, not everybody is built like that, and I don't expect them to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Another thing that I'm going to cover: a lot of people, they don't have properties. They don't know how to find them.
Hmm.
They may be check to check, and that's one of the biggest things that holds people back. They think they need to buy the home in order to start marketing, right?
Yep.
They're worried about making that payment because they don't have any tenants on their waiting list. They don't know who to call, so they're afraid to do that, even if they could scrape up the funds. And that's another thing. They just get that's stuck in like a loop of analysis paralysis.
Yep. I agree.
So
I think that's me.
yeah, that's probably everybody. Who just popped in?
It's me, Timmy. Timmy Smart.
Okay, Timmy, I'll bring you in on like the third section if you wanna mute yourself for now. There's no background noise or anything, but I'm just trying to avoid that. So thank you. And Timmy, you probably speak for, I would say, about 90% of the people I talk to are kind of in that boat. So I'll bring you in on that part. um, and Anthony, this will kind of segue into that a little bit.
Yep.
Where have you found, like, if you had to zero in on the segment of population that you
Hmm.
get the best deals from,
Yep.
what would their profession be?
The best deals, are you meaning like multifamily or single family?
For wholesales, like the
Oh,
people that are
wholesale.
ready to sell a home for like 30 cents on the dollar.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean the best deals that I've seen thus far is probably either probate
Uh-huh.
or in just in case nobody doesn't really know what that is, but probate is pretty much an inherited property to where usually the owner do not want the property, and they just ready to fire sell it and just to get out their hair. So it's usually that or back taxes or absentee owner is usually where I've seen the best
Bingo.
properties to go after.
Absentee owner.
Yep.
So we are going to touch on that for the people that are looking to start with, no money down.
Yep.
There's landlords out there that me and Anthony get deals from that sell us properties for 30 cents on the dollar.
Yep.
And most people just don't get that. So Anthony, what do most investors think of a good deal? Anthony, like what are they looking to cash flow? Like your typical landlord.
The landlords that I usually talk to, which I think that's pretty funny. I was just talking about that earlier. They usually comfortable with about $200 to $500.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's if everything goes well.
Yeah, that's true. Because I mean,
So
if something breaks, you have no cash flow.
I'm gonna I'm gonna hammer that home when it comes down to how to start with no money. And
Yep.
we'll cover the gold course material to do that. So before I move forward, Anthony, can you see my screen good? And like the gold
Yes.
course stuff here? And
Yep.
I think I'm kind of new to Zoom, so forgive me if I fumble around a little bit, but you can't see like my Zoom windows on the screen, right?
No, I just see the actual screen like inside the course.
Okay, cool. That makes things a lot easier for me to manage. All
Yep.
right, so let's start with well, first thank you for popping in here and giving us your background. This is it's one of those things. You probably go to real estate meetup groups and are in forums or in podcasts and things like that regarding real estate investing, right?
Yes, that's correct.
How many people do you know that do group homes?
I don't know any, man.
How many other wholesalers are out there? How many we buy houses cash signs do you see?
Oh yeah, all over the place. Every poll.
Right? How many new investors do you see at the meetup groups that want to do stuff in real estate?
Oh yeah, all the time. Probably
Right?
every meetup. Yep.
And we find, a lot of people that come to us, I would say maybe 1 out of 10 people are real estate investors like yourself that are curious.
Yep.
And the other folks are maybe working in the medical field or working at group homes, or they have like that caretaker personality. They want
Yep.
to help people out, and they're looking for something that's, they can make some money doing that. Most real estate investors, what do they get into it for?
For cash flow, simply.
Exactly, for cash.
Yep.
I've been to a meetup group where someone brought up this opportunity. It was before I even knew about it. What do you think all the real estate investors in that room did to the poor kid?
Well, they probably told them you need a license or it's a sort of scam or something like that.
Exactly. There's all these misconceptions, which is what, luckily you folks are on the call willing to learn, but I'm going to be hammering home. I'm going to be talking about real estate investors, and you'll understand why, because those are your perfect partners, right? They have those misconceptions that most people think of. You have to have a license. And then there's just some nightmare scenarios that probably run through their head, which I don't blame them for that. Yeah. But my goal is really just to show you and everybody else those systems you can put in place to alleviate the bad things that can happen. And really just my goal is to get everybody out there, comfortable in doing that first step, which is marketing. So let's get into the opportunity, why it makes sense. So you can see the calculator on my screen, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So we operate in lower to middle income neighborhoods, where if you were looking for a 1-bedroom or a studio with all the bills needing to pay your housing expenses, your rent, your water, electric, cable, internet, you're looking at least $1,000 in the neighborhoods we operate in.
Yeah.
Is that kind of similar to where you're at?
That's correct.
Right. Now, imagine you are a vet. You're disabled. You can't work. You don't qualify for your VA benefits, but you get $1,200 per month in Social Security income. What do most landlords require in order to rent a property from them?
Oh yeah, a 2-year work history, bank statements, first and month's last rent, good credit, things of that nature.
Yeah, good credit, 3 times the rent amount for income,
Yeah.
right? So even if this guy could qualify for a place, which he can't, it's only going to leave him with $200 left over for the month.
Yep.
So where does somebody like that end up?
Right in our group home.
Hopefully. Where do a lot of them end up though?
Oh yeah, on the street, honestly.
Yep, street, shelter, maybe, or if
Yep.
they're lucky, if there's a group homeowner in the area, they
Yep.
end up at group homes, but that's in a severe lack of shortage for that. So our solution, and this is just our numbers, it comes out to about 60% of that per bed. So we charge around $600 per bed. It's a roommate situation, which you've already figured out the power of that, right?
Absolutely.
It's all bills paid, so they don't have to worry about paying their bills and keeping track of everything. They probably don't have a great history of doing that. It's clean, it's structured. They're with people with similar backgrounds to themselves. So it's much, obviously it's going to be way better than the other options that we talked about. And then it's going to be preferable compared to like like a large assisted living facility. These are more, residential homes. We almost want each home to act as a familial unit, so the
Yep.
tenants love it. Okay.
Yep.
We are going to charge. Well, I already told you what we charge. So $600 per bed. We're now generating around $1,200 in revenue per bedroom. We'll look for large homes, 4 or 5 bedroom properties, maybe with a garage that could be converted, maybe a studio in the back. So some of our properties, we're talking like 7, 8, 9 bedrooms. They are just cash cows, okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to use a 5 bedroom for this example. So on a property, have you seen the like any of the group home tours, Anthony?
Yes, I have. Yep.
So really what we call them basic, rent ready remodels is what we call them. Nothing fancy. Like tile throughout the home, no carpet. We're not doing granite countertops or anything like that. Little older appliances. Everything's working and it's clean and everything. But we're not going to get top dollar for rent. We might be able to get $1,500, $1,800 per month as a rental unit, but
Yep.
we're now bringing in $6,000.
Yeah.
About half of that is going to go towards expenses, and that does include the market rent. I screwed up. We were at 6,000. Going to take away half for expenses, and we're now netting around $3,000 per property. And just for the people that are new to join, Anthony, what's your average landlord looking to make per month?
$200 to $500 cash flow.
Yep. The $200 to $300 in our area. If
Yep.
there's a property on the MLS with that cash flow, there's going to be like 100 offers on it. So using the systems I'm going to cover and that are in the gold course, we show people how each operational manager, which is probably going to be a lot of you guys, that will be your role. You can run, 15 to 20 of these things before it becomes a full-time job. Using outsourcing, getting guaranteed payments, things like that, house supervisors, and we'll cover all that. But your day-to-day job activities, if you're going to replicate our business model, is going to be very similar to like property management.
Yep.
So you're hustling. Let's say you have 15 properties. A lot of miscellaneous calls, marketing, showing the property, might be, dealing with maintenance issues, tenant issues. It's just a lot of miscellaneous stuff. Could be anywhere from 40 to 60 hours per week as a full-time job. But how much is that per month?
That's about right.
Not bad for a full-time job, right? And I kind of gave it away, but is that per year or per month?
That's per month.
Per month. So let's annualize it. Now we're up to a half a milski, right?
Yep.
How much do we have to take out for expenses, do you think?
I usually take out a half for expenses.
So we already did that. Trick question.
Oh yeah, you're right.
All
Yeah,
right.
you're right.
Have you listened to our podcast when do you listen to our podcasts?
I listened to all of them.
Okay, cool. If Andy's on there, I usually make it a point to ask him how long he spends on his group homes. You remember like what his average answer is?
Yeah, I think he said about 2 hours a week or something like that.
About like an hour or two per month.
Oh yeah, yep.
All right. So do you know how much your average property manager in your area makes? Like someone that works at an apartment complex?
Yeah, they usually charge somewhere between 5 to 8% for apartment complexes, and for residential is usually somewhere between 10 to 12.
Okay. So the person doing that act like the property manager at a complex, anywhere from average is about 50 grand per year.
Yep.
Maybe the top, 1% might bring in 75K.
Yeah.
Think you could find somebody like that with those, qualifications and skills, give them a better quality of life, right? Like a
Absolutely.
6-figure salary or a revenue share or something like that.
Yep.
So each one of Andy's operational managers are 6-figure earners. Okay. Take away that. And then what's your day like?
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay. So this is really just to motivate people out there, show you the possibility. This is why Group Home Riches is even here, right? The course, the blog is because in theory, Andy does whatever he wants, and he could have retired a long time ago from his group homes. He doesn't just chill now, so he still does real estate investing, vacations whenever he wants. But the idea is he worked on the business for the first year or two, and now he does what he wants.
Yep, that's the goal.
Yeah, and you can't do that with rentals, right?
No, you need a whole lot of them.
Yeah, and if to get a whole lot of them in order to bring in enough to actually live on, it's a nightmare management thing. I'm not a big fan of that model. But if you have a cash vehicle, operating business, bringing in this type of cash, then I think rentals are great. If you just have cash sitting in the bank, collecting dust, not earning enough interest, then great. Put it into multifamily or rentals. Get a property manager. But that's a good problem to have, and we're all working towards that.
Absolutely.
All right, man. So do you have any questions on anything we've covered so far?
No questions for me. Just pretty much, want everybody to know that it is possible. You can get started. I didn't even know what I was doing a few years ago. So if I could definitely do it, and with the knowledge that you guys provided, because it helped me out as well. So anybody could do it.
Yeah, you have to take that first step. I know there's a lot of things that hold people back, and that's what we're here for. But Anthony kind of hit it on the head. He took that first step before he figured everything out, and that's what a lot of successful people do. So, Thank you. I'm going to mute you, and then I'm gonna bring in Geraldine. I'll bring you on to the third section. The gentleman that popped in there before. Do you want to pop in here?
Brandon, you were talking to me, Timmy?
Yes, Timmy. Thank you. So you mentioned you're kind of on a tight budget, correct?
No, I said most of us don't know where to. We're wondering how to start. We don't have a house. You got to rent it. And other things, and how to get people in. Those are the problems. We have. I've not done it. I've not done this. This is my first time doing it. But meanwhile, I tried to get into it sometimes last year
Yeah.
because I'm a pastor and I have this where this hands of love. We go to feed the homeless every month, once every first week of every month in Dallas, downtown Dallas. And I see all these homeless people and all that. So my passion grew into trying to start a home, like group homes. So I reached out to some landlords and they refused to this once they knew what I wanted to do.
Uh-huh.
They refused me getting they refused to let it go. I tried one, two, three. I just gave up. So I
Okay.
left it. So recently I just was going on online and I stumbled on you guys again telling me how you can speak to land and everything. So I said, hey, this must be good. I believe God is leading me in there. So that's what
So perfect. I am a perfect person to bring on into this section then. So I should be showing you guys the stuff here. So in the beginner's guide, if you go to the how to find a partner and start with little to no money, even if someone out there has $1 million cash that they could put into the business, I still recommend reading this and understanding these concepts. And it's really going to come down to understanding the advantages of this business model compared to the rental model. Okay. So in your approach, I'm guessing you found, people that had a vacant property and essentially just asked them if you could run a group home out of the property, right?
yes.
Okay. So me and Anthony, you heard us talk about kind of what most landlords probably think when they hear group home, right?
Yeah.
So they assume you have to have a license, special zoning. They're worrying about, the liability. They've gone through the eviction process with qualified people, and now you're asking to sublet the property to 10 to 15 people that might not be qualified. Okay.
Mhm.
And I want you guys to really, if you are on a tight budget, even if you're looking to lease a property, you kind of need to know what your potential partner or person that you're asking for something, what's going to be in it for them. So have you heard the story of my brother on our podcast?
I think so. Yes, I've listened to most of your podcasts, but
I'm gonna go through it anyways, and you might not remember, but either or. So he has around 20 properties. A couple of them are multifamilies. So he's got a total of around 50 units in upstate New York.
yes, I heard that. I heard it. You told me
Okay.
about. Yes, I got it. Yeah.
So you might remember this, you might not. So this is 50 units in upstate New York. How much do you think he profits per year, or how much do you think he brought in last year?
Maybe with 50, it should be like 100,000.
You sure that's it?
I think so. It should be with 50 properties. Yes, I think the minimum should be like 100,000, 200.
You would at least want 6 figures, right?
Yes.
Some people think millions. They think he's a millionaire when I ask him that question. So me and Anthony kind of touched on it. So the average, if you're looking to buy a rental property, what's considered a good buy is something that cash flows, 200. I think it's 200 to 300 is what most people think. 500, what kind of the more savvy investors look for. So let's say you're looking to profit $200 to $500 per month. Okay. It's super competitive. We already talked about all the people that are getting into real estate. Like you see the We Buy Houses cash signs in your area,
Yes.
right? So, it's very, very competitive. So He has to spend marketing money in order to find a deal. They usually have to fix up the properties. Those rehabs are never on time. They're never completed early, and they're never completed under budget. Okay. Portia, give me one second, and I'll get into your question. But yeah, Portia and everybody else, pop in any questions that you have in there, and I'll do a little Q&A at the end. So yeah, the properties are under, or they're over budget, right? And then when he gets people in there, not everyone pays him on time, right?
Yes.
He has some tenants skip out on town. Sometimes he has to evict them for not paying, or that's typically the only reason that he would need to evict people. They don't take great care of the properties, right? All this stuff. So last year they actually lost money. Okay, that many units is a full-time job on top of their full-time job. Okay, anytime there's a plumbing issue, someone flushes something down the toilet that they weren't supposed to, AC goes out, anything like that, it goes to their cell phones. They're managing everything. They're showing the properties. They're needing to lease it. They have a full-time job on top of their full-time jobs, and they get to pay out of pocket for that. All right. So this is, me and Anthony talked about some of our best deals. Many landlords just get fed up with it and will sell their properties for literally pennies on the dollar. I've gotten properties that are like 30 cents on the dollar, 70% off the after, their market price, just because people are sick of dealing with the property and tenants and everything like that. So once you understand the key points of this, the idea is to approach a landlord almost as a partnership, and you want to be in the position to say these things. So imagine if you approach someone like my brother and say, hey, I see you have a vacant property. I've been researching a business model that's going to help out the community. It's going to maybe transition veterans out of homelessness. There's going to be no evictions. Okay, we're going to get guaranteed payments. I'm going to be doing all of the managing. I plan on being here for years to come, 30 or 40 years before I retire. And you'll never get a call about this property ever again. And on top of that, I'm willing to give you an extra $300 to $400 per month. I really like your property, but I have 3 others that I want to look at today. But would you be interested in hearing more about the opportunity?
Of course I will.
Right? What
Yeah.
landlord in their right mind wouldn't want to take that?
Right.
You're going to double their profit with that pitch. You're going to double their profit. They're not going to get any calls ever again on the property. And when they find out how much money you're going to be making, they're not going to worry about you paying their rent. So have you heard, have you listened to, you said you listened to our podcasts, right?
Yes.
So there's a couple on there, folks, I want you to listen to if you haven't. One was with Tiana. Let me pull these up for you guys, actually. I'm gonna kind of highlight some of the deals that these guys got. So this is a great one to listen to. William, he leased his first property, but more to this point, where is it? So Adam approached a landlord with that. So we talk about, what he said to him and what was offered, but he essentially, he figured he could pay an extra like $400 to the landlord, pitched the idea to him, and he was able to get the property with no money down for 60 days. So the guy was just going to give him the property, let him try it out for 60 days before any money was due to the landlord. Oh, Tiana, this one called Can You Get a Home for Free for 6 months? Same idea. She found somebody on, I think it was through Craigslist, a guy that was going to be doing Airbnbs. That industry has pretty much been shut down due to COVID. He was mid rehab and he needed an exit strategy. So he was willing to give her basically let her use the property for 6 months without any money due to him.
Wow, that's good.
Okay, and it's really it's all about the approach. Okay, and you need to be able to explain these questions that they're going to have the same questions you guys have. You know, what happens if one of these people breaks the house rules? You know, my brother before COVID hit is in the middle of 5 evictions. That was before COVID. Imagine going through 5 lawsuits. Okay. And that's with qualified people, right? So they're worried about that. What do you think a property manager does, or a landlord? What do you think they're doing for every first of the month through the 10th?
Hoping and praying that the tenants pay them.
Right? Yes, trying to collect rent, and then from the 10th on, they're dealing with all the paperwork to get an eviction going if they don't get paid. So you get a guaranteed payment. I'm going to show you guys all these things. Okay, how to avoid eviction, how to get a guaranteed payment, how to stay out of eviction court, and just get a couple other key parts of the system that just make your life a lot easier, and so you can manage a handful of these things. So do you have any questions on what we covered, Timmy?
No, I think that's very helpful
So
in terms of approaching the
biggest
landlord.
tip I would give you is to read this guide, and it's just all about changing your approach.